Hi, this is Peggy Mohan. I'm speaking to you from New Delhi. Greetings to all at the University Library as we head towards Indian Arrival Day 2019. I first met Visham back when I came to Trinidad in 2008 for the launch of my book Jahajin. Jahajin was my book which brought together the research work that I had done on Bhojpuri earlier in the 1970s, along with something of a narrative of my own family story and some of the stories that I had heard from people. I was really happy to note that there was somebody who was continuing the sort of work that I had started, recording people, trying to understand the language, trying to stave off that moment of sunset when it all goes dark. And I think up to now he has managed to do that. I had the luck to be doing my work in the 1970s when there were not only old people who had come on the boat from India, there were a lot of younger people who spoke the language very well, and even some people my own age who spoke it in a manner of speaking. They could make themselves understand, so I got a lovely contrast in different phases in the life of the language. What I had to study when I looked at it after that, besides just the grammar, was what the language was all about. How did it come into being? What is our identity? Our identity is a little more mixed than you would think. We weren't all speakers of Bhojpuri. People came from many different areas. There were a lot of Tamils from the south and people who were not even Tamils. They were from other parts of South India. 10%. They maintained their language. In the north, what tended to happen was within a generation, everybody was speaking Bhojpuri. And while we might have differed a little bit, we didn't see ourselves as being different, which is interesting because it's about perception. If you think these are just tiny little stylistic differences from one part of Trinidad to another, you're seeing a kind of unity, which was what was needed at that time. We were adrift from India, we were separate from Hindi, we were at the time, because of indentureship, separate from the rest of Trinidad, and therefore we needed something as an anchor. So we had Bhojpuri all that time. Other dialects pretty much got lost. A few people tended to remember a little bit about it. What do we do now? I think that there are people who are trying to do research on Bhojpuri in Trinidad, a few, even Visham. He has to go further afield than I had to go because people need to live in much more secluded parts of Trinidad to be maintaining Bhojpuri. It tends to slip away. It slips away from me too, even in India, and that is an important point. When it doesn't interface with the life you live right now, what do you do with it? I was even asked if I could speak to you in Bhojpuri. I could, if what I was doing was telling you a story. But I'm not telling you a story. I'm talking about something that's a little bit more current. And for that, there might be a little bit of fakeness coming in if I try to speak to you in Bhojpuri. So that brings in the point, what do we do? Do you want to keep this language? There is a problem. Languages have been brought back into existence, but under unusual circumstances, when people have been traumatized, when people feel the need for a separate identity. I don't think we do in Trinidad. What we want from Bhojpuri is more a memory, a link to the past. We are feeding a certain nostalgia, and I hope something a little more than that. If you want the language to be somewhat alive, you have to somewhat let it go. Like children, when they're born, we don't completely program them. They come up and surprise us at times, and the language has to do that too. What I'm actually opting for here and hoping for is that we will let it go and let it move into the larger society. What we want to see happening is that people who never spoke it, people people who may not even be Indian, people who are not only Hindu, but people of all kinds in Trinidad would feel a certain ownership of this language and will take it and run with it and do things that surprise us. We are there to give them the background, to tell the old stories so that they know what it used to be like. It will not be the same if it ever picks up another life. I don't know if it will, but I'm there to help in any way that I can. So I'm wishing you all the best, and I'm here from my side to do anything I can to support you. Thank you.